All right, let's get one thing straight, right from the top. This isn't some crystal ball prediction. What we're talking about today is a debrief, a look back at a technological shift that is already done. It's already happened. And the proof? Well, it's all in the data.
So, you know all that talk about some future technological transition that's on the horizon? You can just forget all of it. That's yesterday's news. The transition isn't coming. It's over. It's complete. We have a new baseline right now. And really, the only thing left to do is for everyone else, and yeah, that includes you, to catch up to what's already here.
So how did this all happen? Well, this whole thing was kicked off by one single event. We call it the January 14th Protocol. And no, this isn't some fancy theory or a code name for a concept. It's the name we give to the exact, irreversible moment when the future just locked into place. It all came down to a single transaction. That was it, the point of no return.
Okay, let's look at the hard facts. On January 14th, 2026, OpenAI went ahead and signed a deal with Cerebras. And we're not talking about a small deal here. We're talking about a $10 billion agreement to deploy their CS3 systems. That single transaction, that's what set the new industrial standard. You can literally draw a line in the sand on that date. It's the dividing line between the world before and the world we're living in right now.
So, you're probably asking, where's the proof? Well, the first piece of evidence is physical. It's something you can see and measure. And believe me, we are not talking about a few extra server racks in a data center. The scale of this thing, it's measured in the language of civic infrastructure. Think bigger, much bigger. This is the new buy-in, the new price of admission, if you want to even think about being competitive.
The key data point here all comes down to one thing: power. And the number you need to remember is 750 megawatts. Let that sink in. 750 megawatts. That's the sheer amount of power OpenAI locked down just for these new Cerebras systems. It's a staggering number, right? So let's try to put that into perspective so you can really grasp the scale.
So, what does 750 megawatts actually look like? Well, it's enough juice to power an entire small city. A whole city. That is the kind of physical footprint we're talking about. And let's be real, you don't build something on that scale just to try it out. This isn't an experiment. This is the foundation. This is the bedrock of the new paradigm.
Okay, so that was the physical proof. Now for the second piece of evidence, the economic proof. And you know what they say? Just follow the money. The market has already cast its vote with billions of dollars, and that capital gives us undeniable proof of where value is actually being created today. There's a concept we call the inference training flip. It's pretty simple, really. For years, pretty much all the big money in AI was poured into training. You know, the process of building and teaching these new AI models from scratch. But starting in 2026, that whole equation just completely inverted. It flipped. Now, the lion's share of the spending is on inference, which is the actual real-world deployment and use of these models at an unbelievable scale.
And the numbers? Well, they tell the whole story. 55%. Over half of all spending in the AI market is now on inference, on actually using the AI. So what does that mean? It means the era of just building these things, it's over. We are officially in the era of pure operation. The market? It's already moved on. The debate's finished.
All right, that brings us to the third and final piece of evidence. This one is technical. And folks, this is where the gap we've been talking about becomes a chasm, an uncrossable canyon. The performance difference we're seeing here isn't just a little better. It's not an incremental improvement. It's so massive, so vast, that it makes literally all previous hardware obsolete. We're talking about a step function change. An entirely new category of machine has been created.
Just look at the raw speed. A Cerebras CS3 system, it's crunching about 1,800 tokens a second. And you can just think of tokens as little pieces of information. Now, compare that to the old way, the legacy GPU architecture. That handles maybe 90 tokens a second. Do the math. That is a performance gap of more than 15 times. We've started calling this the latency trap. And if your system is caught in it, you are, by definition, out of the game. Not just slow, non-competitive.
And I need to be absolutely crystal clear on this point. A 15x performance gap? That's not a ladder you can slowly climb. It's a rocket ship that has already left the launch pad. This isn't an improvement that you can try to compete with. It is a fundamental replacement of the underlying technology. There's no catching up to this. It's like trying to catch a fighter jet on a bicycle. It is a completely different category of computing.
Okay, so let's put it all together. You've got this massive physical scale, right? A city's worth of power. You've got the huge economic shift with the money flipping from training to inference. And then you have this unbridgeable technical gap in speed. When you combine all three of those things, you're left with one single, unavoidable conclusion about the biggest weakness, the biggest limitation of the old way of doing things.
And frankly, the data forces us to a pretty stark conclusion. Human professional speed, our speed, is now a legacy bottleneck. Think about that term. The pace of human thought, which used to be the benchmark for all valuable work, is now just a system constraint. It's a problem that has to be engineered around.
So, welcome to the new operational reality. Here are the new rules. Rule 1. The speed of work is now set by machine performance, not by when a person is available. Rule 2. Any workflow, any process that has to stop and wait for a human is now, by its very definition, inefficient. And Rule 3. Your value isn't about how hard you work anymore. It's about how well you can plug into and direct this new, incredibly fast baseline.
Look, this isn't some what-if scenario for the future. I have to say it one more time. The change has already happened. The new baseline is here. It exists. It's running right now. So the final question, well, it isn't really for us to answer. It's for you. Your workflow is now officially obsolete. So the question is, how are you going to provide value?